Yeah, he kept on calling her all different kinds of colorful language in that. And this guy had told me so many horrible stories about him and his baby mama. Basically, I had this picture of this baby mama just being this irresponsible woman that is all over the show, doesn't really take care of the baby. That's what he had given me as a story. And then I heard her screaming and crying, getting beaten up. She even spoke about how she's got a blue eye. She's got a blue eye from him, but it's okay. They can talk about it. They'll be cool. Yo, guys, you know, I listened to this in fright and horror. I was shaking. I was shaking when I was listening to this voice recording. After hearing this voice recording, I basically told that guy, I sent him an SMS on that same phone on some, don't you dare come back here. I want my money back, ABC. You're a horrible man. You lied. And on top of that, you're into abusing women. And I'm not about to stand for that. And he changed. From day to night, he started swearing at me the way that he swore at his baby mama. I brought out his true colors by finding out what he's into. So I had to start locking the house. I had to encircle myself with kids, blah, blah, blah. Here was an abuser in my life and he was busy talking to me. He was trying to get with me. He was never going to get anywhere because he was a Muslim. I was trying to evangelize him for Jesus, but irrespective of his Muslim roots, he would have just lingered around, you know, in a friendly capacity, hoping to one day hit that. He would never have gotten there. But if I had allowed him to stick around for much longer, I would have trusted him and I would have ended up finding myself in a compromised position when he got frustrated that I'm not doing what he wants me to do. And that's what resulted in him, you know, swearing at me too and trying to break down the burglar proofing of the place where I stayed. His violent side came out. God came through for me by the fact that I didn't have a phone during the time when I met him. If I had met this guy when I had a phone, I would never have found this out about him. But I had my phone stolen in the previous place where I was staying. My mother did not replace it. And this guy, because he was trying to flirt with me, borrowed me a phone for a season. And because of that phone, I found out how he was. So the Lord went before. That's how I keep getting delivered from these guys. It happens supernaturally. It would never have been a decision I made. I would have found myself in harm's way. I would have ended up dead or afflicted, terribly compromised in some way. The recent guy, the one from the US, I would not have known what in the world I was dealing with if he didn't change. You know, when you've got the Holy Spirit of the living God in you and you're dealing with somebody that is very heavily demonically possessed because they're into witchcraft, they manifest demons. This guy started out kind and sweet and loving, and then one day he just went super mean. He just went super cold. He literally was grumbling. He was terrible. He broke me. He ghosted me. He suddenly didn't respond to me when I was talking to him. And I'm like, dude, how do you propose marriage to a woman and you don't even talk to her? I couldn't understand it. He was not walking in biblical Christianity even in the slightest, until eventually I got over him. That's the thing. I got over him and I stopped hoping he comes around. He is the one that hurt himself by hurting me, and yet he is still invested in sorcery right now. The angels of God bore me up that I might not strike my foot against a stone. Christ has been the mother I don't have. He has been the sisters I don't have. He has been the brothers I don't have, the uncles, the dads I don't have. The Lord has been the supportive community that I don't have, and he has done the rescuing very supernaturally by causing these men to manifest wickedly, or for me to find something out about them that made it basically a deal breaker for me to continue in any kind of relationship with them, be it friendly or otherwise. I've only ever been in 2 romantic relationships since I was in Christ, and they lasted no more than 2 months each of these relationships because God quickly snatched me out of the situation. The first one was an abusive because I was still employed. The guy knew his boundaries, but the second one was he's still trying to kill me to this day. So the fact of the invisibility of God has caused these men to think I don't have anybody, and that's what's made them ridiculous. So now I understand. I am a South African woman, and I am a victim of gender-based violence. I now know why South African women are dropping dead. I know why South Africa has got the worst statistics in the world in light of femicide, in light of it is apparently the worst country, like I said earlier, for you to live as a woman. Now I know why. Because look at my life. Women have just watched me, and so lurking beastly men have infiltrated my space. And men are also la-di-da doing their own thing. We're just living in this like sinful society. My uncle, I went to him to try and help me out in this season, rebuke all those that are hurting me, and he just stood with all of my my enemies. Literally, because of my former career, my former life, and the glory of it, the envy that was inspired inside the hearts of friends and family members, females especially, caused them to just watch me. And because these days men are busy fighting a lot of women in the independent space because of feministic ideals that have caused these women to also be disrespectful, because I was independent, they just clumped me together with feminists because I had money. They clumped me together with women that have no regard for men, don't believe in submission, who think it's weakness and all that jazz. They clumped me together with them by mere virtue of my material strength. I was materially strong, but I was not disrespectful. Any man that would call me disrespectful would be lying if they knew me back in the day, whether they were friends or somebody that I was with, a lover, a boyfriend. They would be lying. I was submissive, I was serving, I was happy to be barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen. Basically typical gender roles, I was happy to fulfill them. Heck, I even wanted to, like I said earlier, to leave my 9-to-5 job so I could be happily a mom, comfortably a wife. I wanted that stuff, but I just so happened to have capacity to also earn money. So due to clumping me together with the feminists, these men also then just stood idly by on some day. She has it coming. You know how men who are misogynized by the feministic movement, how they've got it in, they've got spite in them against feministic women. So if a woman that is a strong independent that does not want to hear it from men, if she loses everything, if she loses a job, if she loses like her footing, if she breaks her leg, they just look at her on some you don't believe in chivalry anymore, you don't believe in men fulfilling their roles, so why should I come and bring my brawn into the situation where you're in dire need now of being rescued, oh damsel in distress, where just yesterday you said you didn't need me. Men looked at me with spite. They gazed upon my situation and did nothing because they were like, here's another feminist that bites the dust. Now you know that you need men, except I was never the kind to believe that we don't. They literally painted me with the same brush as everyone, and so did not wear their Superman and their Spider-Man and their hero suits, basically, making like the Incredible Hulk to come and rescue the day. They refused to be Tarzan to Jane, even though I was very typically like Jane. They refused to be Adam to Eve. They refused to be men to me. And so they stood idly by as I was falling splat to the ground, bones crushing on the pavement and everything. And then they also watched my family just gaze upon do nothing about my cadaver. They did not get the coroner's called, call an ambulance, arrange a funeral, nothing. They watched my family members act like apathetic around the demised state of my life, and then were like, on top of that, her family doesn't care about her. Spite, like a lot of spite from misogynistic men who became as ravenously misogynistic as they are because of how toxic feminism can be. Like the combination of these things cost the wrong woman her whole future, and today I am still being watched by both these men and these women die. And it is only Jesus that has kept me strong enough to not grab a noose, hang myself. Jesus has been the one to keep me with my head above water sufficiently for me to still look forward to tomorrow. And you are going to literally have your socks blown right off your feet to learn that even though I'm turning 38. Today's my mother's birthday. It's 4 days before mine. I'm turning 38 in 4 days from now. On the 8th of August. I am going to be spending therefore that 8th birthday, was it the 9th one in a row, still in obscurity, going nowhere, all my dreams and hopes having been shattered. I have basically been aged. I don't have my youth anymore. And because of that, you would imagine they would leave me alone. You would imagine that men would now all of a sudden want to rescue me because I'm old, because I'm worth a while now. You know how these afflicting misogynistic men are kind to older women because they're not a threat. They're not actively trying to pursue them or be with them. They just are women. They want to look like they're chivalrous. They want to look like they are decent men in society. So they help the little old lady walk across the street. But the same dude that will help the little old lady walk across the street will then go home and speak horribly. What happened there with my lighting conditions? That's what happened. The same guy that will help the little old lady, I don't know what happened. Something happened. The same guy that will help the little old lady walk across the street will go home and speak smack to his neighbor. His what is this? The girl that lives in his apartment building. That is an independent woman that he always sees coming back home with her guai going go up the hills. He will like look at her with attitude, not even greet, or talk to her like, really, come on, get over yourself, you've got a big head. I don't, like, goodness guys, when I was working and had my own apartment, I don't know how many guys in the complexes where I was staying that were young professionals that were basically age appropriate to perhaps pursue me. I don't know how many of them passed me attitude. I don't know how many of them I have greeted and they got embarrassed that I actually greeted because they were walking past me with an attitude. And so when I was like, hello, they were caught off guard on some, oh, hi. Whereas they were walking past me like, and yet when the 50-year-old lady from the second floor walks by them, they're like, hi, ma'am, how are you? And I'd be like, but she's a woman like me, just a little bit older. She's got all the goods that I got, type thing. They are like that. So because of the fact that they're as highly favored by older women, they also we don't get protected as younger women from them. We don't get recovered from insanity. Like our side is never taken. These older women love them because they're serving, but they never ever see that they are kind to them, but however, they are ridiculous to us. So I am now having to face all of those things. I imagine that because now I am older, I'm 38 now, right? I would imagine that due to me being older, I'm no longer threatening. Okay, fine, so 38 is not that old, but you get my point. I thought that as time progressed, apparently when you hit 40 or you're in your late 30s, you're no longer that intimidating as a woman. So those who afflicted you due to jealousy when you were in your younger days, you would imagine they would stop. They would put an end to it now. We ignored Karabo, we wasted all of her 30s. Now that she is 38, okay, let's help her. Okay, let's be kinder. Let's be sweeter. Let's be softer. But they are still standing back. So basically, due to the fact that my black ain't cracking, due to the fact that I've got my genes on my side, my mom ages very gracefully. I therefore have taken after her. Due to the fact that I am yet to have gray hairs, due to the fact that I am yet to get fine lines and wrinkles, due to the fact that I still look young even though I am chronologically not that young, people are like, wait for the first wrinkle to come. They keep on pushing out the goal date for when they're gonna eventually act appropriately towards me. Men are trying to make me not be as physically attractive anymore so they can comfortably come and rescue me or help me or talk for me, have my back, basically rebuke women for being so negligent. I don't know what happened with my lighting, you guys. Basically be negligent. Like this is the kind of thing that any responsible man should be like, but how do you do that to your own daughter? The kind of thing that would cause a man to pull in some favors on some. There is a woman that's struggling, and umfazi is not supposed to struggle like this. A woman is not to struggle, to suffer like this. So pull in a favor because in and of himself, he's the boss of a company or something. Like, men are only prepared to help me when I'm not intimidating. And the thing that has made them be this way is because of the fact that I am essentially inaccessible to them on a romantic level if they don't know Christ. Many of the men that have come into my space have not known the Lord, and that was the reason I rejected them. I didn't reject them because they were not man enough, because they were not cute enough, because they were not strong enough material, like the typical reasons that women in the world would reject a man. I did not reject them for those reasons. I rejected them for spiritual reasons. They were not godly enough, so I did not even let them get within an arm's length to me, and that has made them then, and also because of the fact that they were not godly enough, they of course then expected things like fornication to be part of the equation. I don't do sex before marriage. I am waiting on the Lord for a husband. All of these things has caused a lot of worldly men who would basically stand by the feministic movement even, and trend also things like hashtag am I next, when is this gonna stop, gender-based violence is a problem. The same men that would speak out against gender-based violence in this country would have watched me all these years and have done nothing, because they imagine what's in it for me. If I rock up and I rescue this girl, she's not gonna give me some. She's also not going to want to be with me. She's gonna expect me to be all religious like she's religious, and so therefore they've decided that they're gonna watch me just die. So the problem is on both men and women. My godliness has cost me a life. My godliness has made people do nothing about my situation. People are irritated with the fact that in spite of my sorrow, I still won't compromise myself in some way. So they are like, oh, utlabona, you will see. Wait another 5 years, then you will know. Wait another, goodness, it's just gotten so dark all of a sudden. Wait another 5 years and you will see. Let's give her another 3 years and you'll see. Let's wait for her to turn 45. Then she might give it up. But by then, men won't even want to be trying to hit that because they're busy trying to pursue 22-year-olds. So basically, even though I am old, I look young. Okay. Basically, I'm dying over the fact that even though I'm old, I look young. Even though I am apparently wasted, I won't give up my female parts to a man. And even though I have lost 10 years, 8 years in my CV, I'm still smart. I can still kick it. I can still say it. I'm still intelligent. I still have not lost much of my, I guess, initial je ne sais quoi. I can still start a business. I can still, many of the things that people envied back in the day are basically intact. So they're still sitting idly by while the woman walks in clinical depression every day. Severe demonic attack from strangers that don't know her from a mile away, that would get away with the murder they commit against her life. If at all I did eventually decide to commit suicide, because a man won't stop harassing me with death curses. I will forever be subjugated to the tyranny of spiritual attack by strangers that find my YouTube channel and decide to bewitch me from a distance. Strangers that try to come into my life and upon being rejected then decide to hurt me. I will always be that child left on the school playground without nanny's eyes on her, without mommy's eyes on her, without daddy's eyes on her, without any caretaker there to look at me. Nobody is looking at my life. And because I'm also sharing my testimony publicly, because I'm sure I'm trying to help people survive or strive through bad situations like the one I'm in, I cannot then keep quiet. I can't just hide myself, be underground like I was initially underground. I can't not do YouTube. I can't not update my testimony. I'm actually using social media in order to try and gain myself my independence back. I want to get out of I'm not going to get out of this apart from me doing something about this. I've been trying for years. It's not working, and I'm still trying. I will never stop trying to rescue myself, because no one is going to rescue me. No one is going to protect me. No one is going to cover me. No one is going to have my back. And I'm here to talk for women. I'm here to speak to women, especially that are in my position, who are great women. They have had dreams in their lives that have been shattered and are now sitting in a position to just watch friends and family members that they imagined would have their back just look at them struggle and do absolutely nothing. You will know who in the world envies you, surprisingly, in a very negative way, when you lose a job, when you get divorced, when you break up from your long-term boyfriend or whatever that was supposed to propose to you. Not that you should be dating. Recreational dating is not of God. It only causes fornication. But you will know what your best friend's real intentions are when all of a sudden your boss gives you a hard time in the job that you were doing really well in, and it's looking as if though you might have to leave, like constructive dismissal. Basically, you might have to leave because of a hard time, even though you had hopes and dreams in that space. You will find out when like your executive friend that could pull in a favor in their company for you to move companies, to change a job because you're miserable in your current job, when they turn their cheek over, when they don't want to help you. In this season, I recently returned to Facebook. I left again because it was a very dark place and I wasn't even supposed to go there. I reconciled there with a friend from old, and we were chatting on DMs, and this girl knew that I was struggling. Her profession was she had her own recruitment agency. Last time that I was still thriving, she was an employee of an organization, I think within HR. Ever since then, it turns out that she has since started a recruitment agency, so branched out of corporate and went independent. I have had so many struggles with recruitment agencies who refused to listen to me because they lacked context. They lacked understanding of my story, and even when I gave it to them, they thought it was a long story, so they just would not even recommend me to organizations, especially because of the gap in my CV. These women and men of these recruitment agencies that just glided right by me did this because they didn't know me. They didn't know my character. They didn't know that I couldn't do that. They didn't know that I'm not the kind of person to just drop the ball like that on the job. And so therefore I sort of kind of get where they're coming from, since people sabotaged my plans, since my organization did me in dirty. I can understand how a neutral, unbiased recruitment agent would be like, but you don't look good on paper, and so not recommend me to an organization. But when you in and of yourself are like the CEO basically of a recruitment agency, and you've known a friend for years, and you know how they are, and you know that what happened to them was wicked, and you still won't pull in a favor for them. She did not even ask for my CV. I found out that she was a recruitment agent, not an agent. She was the owner of the agency. She wasn't even working for the agency. She was the owner. I found out that she was the owner of this agency when I looked at her photo on WhatsApp, because we were chatting on WhatsApp. I looked at her profile pic on WhatsApp, and there was like a business card. Her business card for her agency was her profile pic on WhatsApp with the number and everything. there. I went on the internet to see if maybe this is a thing that's in progress, like she's starting it, eh? It's not yet taken off. That's why she can't help me. She's just marketing it on WhatsApp right now. I went online and I found her website and realized that it's legit and it's thriving and it's running. And I'm like, here it is. I'm lamenting on Facebook, uploading these posts every single day, talking about how my life is struggling. I told you I lost a job 8 years ago and I'm struggling to come up for air. I've got a CV that is very rich and you know me. And as my friend, you couldn't even pull in a favor. You likely have got contacts across multiple organizations. You know multiple CEOs. You know multiple HR departments, bosses of multiple organizations. You could literally call in a favor on some. I have a friend. She's been done in dirty. No woman should have to struggle like this. It's been 8 years, dog. I'm worried. Help. Please, just listen to her. I'm not saying hire her. I'm saying she has this kind of background. See if maybe, because I know your department needs project managers or program managers. Just listen to her. You don't have to hire her. She could have done that for me, given her contacts within the workplace in this country. And she chose not to. You know when someone has it in dirty. You know when somebody's still coming, like all these years down the line, you're still competing with me. She is married, has children, so she got the wedding ring, she got the babies, she got the career, she got the business. You would imagine that would cause her to be less jealous. Instead, as long as I'm groveling on the floor, I'm down. That's all they need. However, she was happy to be like, girl, I'm praying for you. I got you. Don't worry, you'll be okay. What do you mean I'll be okay when you are in a position to help me? Of course, I did not want to impose myself on her, so I just left her alone. I eventually left Facebook and said nothing, and I've never since then been contacted by her. She didn't even call me to find out, girl, you left again. Look at Facebook, what's going on? Are you okay? She hasn't called me ever since she's got my number. It's chilling in her phone gathering dust. She knows my life was in dire straits. She could have contacted me, but she didn't. She just does not care. That's just the thing. You will know what made her to do that to me. Jealousy, envy, that is making you be like, another 5 years, huh? When she's 40 and after she menopauses, like, why does she keep pacing up and down behind me like she knows I'm working? Only once you have menopause, girl, or only once I can see that you're visibly aging, only once it's over for you, then maybe I'll help you kind of, scrape together a small salary as a project manager. Because of the recognition of how great or prolific I could be if given an opportunity, she chose to just sit back and do nothing, all in the name of competition. I have many other such friends on Facebook that all could have helped me and they didn't. My own mother that you have been seeing pacing up and down behind me here also is an executive for an organization within HR. Dololo. My sister once worked as an executive for one of the leading telecommunications companies in this country, Vodacom, and I've got telco experience. Did not pull in a favor for me zilch during that season. She's not there anymore though. I have got people in my family and within my former friendship set that are littered across various industries in this country where I've got experience, and they've just decided that they're not going to do anything. They're not going to help me. I just wish this woman would stop doing this, because I mean, really, come on. Like, there are so many other places you can have your conversation. Like, you're like just standing around me and you're agitating the living daylights out of me. Yeah, so that is that you see that cavalier constitution that she's walking in is the way that they've been walking around me for years. Like, you're watching your own daughter rot. She is rotting and you're just walking around her. I am sitting in her car recording a video and she's not even wondering what's going on there. I've been doing this for years. Years. Do you understand? Years. I've been doing this trying to get something started. And I'm doing it again and all they do is just walk right by me. I am a woman. I was young and now I'm not so young anymore. I'm not married. I don't have children. What kind of a mother is not concerned that her kid is not getting married or having children? Don't you want grandchildren? They are watching my life waste away. Guys, I want to get married. I want to have children, especially the children. I want babies. And nobody cares that my thirst and my hunger for motherhood is being eroded away at. This is what jealousy does. So of course there is a strange freak in the United States that's trying to kill me. Because according to him, even if I were to drop dead, I mean, nobody's going to miss her anyway. Except all these people are pretentious. They're acting as if though they wouldn't be shattered by my demise. So what is my hope? Of course, we know that my hope is Jesus. But remember when I started talking here, I was like, ladies, if you had dreams and goals that will suddenly have just been put on ice, and you look at your life and you imagine you're a failure, I don't know if your life can get worse than mine. And if I can still have hope in this situation, then how much more should you have hope? Do you know that my mother and my older sister, alongside all of my family members, are flailing my baby sister, who was born in 2001. She's 21. She's going to be turning 22 in February next year. They are trying to flail her come up in my face to make me give up on my plight and my struggle. On some Karabo, your time has come and gone. Now. I don't know how many times my mom has pulled in favors for my baby sister to work jobs she keeps quitting at her company. The same little baby sister, I used to have a relationship with her. I don't have it anymore. We don't talk to each other because she disrespects the living daylights out of me. She walks around me like I'm the scum of the earth. I'm a loser. Something that is like, oh, it's still here. And she drives my mother's car around all over the show, looking like an independent woman. And they are hoping to make me envy a child, a baby sister that I was supposed to put under my bosom, tutor her, train her, help her grow, pull in favors for her. They want to use her as my replacement. So the strained relationship we have with a non-existent one has basically put me in a competition field with a child, even though she's not in my league and I'm not in her league. We're in two completely separate leagues, two different generations. I'm a millennial, she's a Gen Z. And on top of that, I have got what life a millennial has, and she has a Gen Z life. I'm an older woman and she is a kid. But because I am nowhere in life, I'm struggling, I'm doddering about, I don't have kids, I don't have children, I don't have a husband. I am being competed with a child that has similar stats to me. And I have to watch my life basically being given to a kid. And my clout and my street cred. I don't have beef with my little sister other than the beef that she has with me. She is a victim too in this, frankly. That's how I look at it. They are using a child to try and get at me, and it's going to hurt her in the future, because once my work blows up, and it will, she's going to be the girl whose sister that is. She's going to be among the family members that watched me suffer, and she's going to be embarrassed, humiliated, especially her, because she dwells or lives within a generation of social media gobblers. So her friends are going to catch wind of me. Her colleagues, ex-boyfriends, whatever, and they're going to be like, that's your sister? The very same girl that was never supposed to come up for air. The very same woman that no one was ever supposed to listen to. The very same one that men were looking at on some, you and your independence, look at you now groveling. The very same one that women were like, you were such a diva, and now look at you, you're no one, will now be someone. And this time around, I'm going to be someone in the capacity of, I can't really call it a life coach, but one of those very mature people that give very lofty advice to people, very wise instruction to people. And so she's not just some fluffy influencer on social media that is doing a face beat and changing a palette of color on her lips, and that's why she's taking off. That's why everybody is basically trending her lipstick color on social media. If I'm trending because of something I said, something prolific, something paradigm shifting, something that speaks to the heart, the soul. I am in Christ, and I come here giving a godly wisdom. So therefore, I've got clout in a way that you can't really overcome. It's not the kind of thing that comes with a trend and goes. The word of God lingers forever, and I'm giving the gospel. I am sharing my testimony in suffering and in sorrow. Therefore, this here is something that is going to have far more weight, if at all I gain that kind of traction, than a Kim Kardashian contouring look on Instagram. You must understand that whatever influence I have is going to be haughtier and weightier. And so because of the philosophical nature of my social media presence, because of how much wisdom there is in what I'm doing, because of the supernatural, spiritual, and life matters nature of my social media presence, the shallow ways in which my sisters walked are gonna get them humiliated. I'm not just trending makeup, but the gospel. And that's why my little sister stands to be embarrassed, because they will look at my life and my story and be like, so all this time, that's what your older sister was enduring? That's what she was doing? The very woman that you spoke about like she's no one, nothing, and she's just gathering dust in a shack at the back of y'all's house, and she's a loser, she doesn't have a job. This is what was going on with her. They stand to be humiliated. Not because I am humiliating them, but because what they did, their negligence, their abandonment is humiliating. All the men that just looked at me struggle, suffer, grovel, literally lose my teeth as I landed splat on the pavement, will have ignored me because I am apparently one of those shallow feminist women that was flailing her money all up in everybody's grill, and when she lost everything, they finally got to me. Now you ain't got nothing. Now you're not walking up and down these streets making us uncomfortable. Now you're not busy wearing your outfits on social media showing everybody just how much money you're making. Now you're just a nobody that no one respects. Yeah, you know how that one colleague said that I'm so shallow and I'm so fluffy that he can blow me away and I will literally be taken away like a tumbleweed. And now they will learn that I'm rather thick, I'm strong, I've got girth. I'm in Christ. And on top of that, I'm not something you can just blow away like the wind, because I survived suicide. I survived murder by suicide. I survived murder by death curses. I survived neglect, abandonment. I survived being treated by perverted men like I am a carcass of an animal on the side of the street and they scavenged on me. I survived all that. And so every man that ignored me when they could have helped me is going to look like a wuss. They're going to look like one of those typically toxically masculine men. They are going to basically be validated as misogynistic. They're going to look like weak, fluffy men that could not lend a hand to a struggling woman. How could you? Literally, everybody is going to be looking at South African men like, how could you? How could you just let her suffer like this? It was a woman. She was a woman. And you are a man. You were supposed to stand up, gird up your loins, wear some muscle, man, and rescue a damsel in distress. And you rather exploited her. One of you tried to, three of you tried to kill her. You tried to beat her up. You tried to what is this? Guys, the things that have been done to you, let's just not get into it, okay? Let's not get into it. Men are going to look bad, but so too are women. Everybody is going to look bad. So when that song, yeah, is a Destiny's Child or what, Michelle also says, when Jesus says yes, nobody can say no. I woke up this morning with that thing ringing in my head. Ringing. Because God is telling me, Karabo, I know you're distressed. There is a lot of witchcraft in operation in your life right now, but do not look at that. Because I've said yes, it's time. Your ministry is going to take off. Your channel is going to grow. You are going to go where you need to go. And no matter how much witchcraft they send your way, it's not going to work. So strive through it. When those demons are attacking your mind, strive through it, because I'm doing a thing. The evidences are clear. Your subscriber numbers are growing. And that is only the beginning. Your YouTube channel is only the beginning. You're going to write books. You are going to start that pastry channel. You are going to start the fashion business. You're going to make clothes. You are going to do everything you've ever wanted. It's just that you came up for yourself with a roster, a bullet point. You wanted by the age of 30 to basically be running your management consulting firm, but I'm going to give you your consultancy in your latter years. You're going to be like the Colonel, Olewa KFC, who started his franchise branch and became was he a millionaire or a billionaire or what, that he became ultimately, but in his latter years. The Lord has basically promised me that I am going to get my life in my latter years, which is why, guys, I don't believe the rapture is happening now, because God has shown me I have a future and on this side of eternity. He is toppling the tables. He is turning the tables. I waited and he preserved my face and I'm grateful. But it is precisely because he preserved my face and my youthful appearance that people are sitting outside my life waiting for me here at least to turn 45 or something. Well, I'm turning 38. That's not too far from 45. And people are going to wait until I turn that age, causing me to languish in bitterness all of those years after having had my youth stolen, my womb stolen, me menopaused, and me not being able to marry and love a man and love children. Literally, I stand to handle all the misogynists that treated me like I was a ravenous feminist, even though they had no evidence to that regard. I stand to humiliate them with the way I'm going to be so serving, so loving, such a submissive, God-fearing wife to a man that will have waited in turn as well for the kind of woman that I am. I am going to be an excellent mom. I'm going to be the kind of woman that's happy to drop everything for her man and for her kids. The kind of woman that I was accused of not being. I was accused of being one of those career-hungry females that are basically masculine. And I was never that girl. I was never that girl. I just so happened to be smart and working, but I always knew that I would be prepared at the demand of my husband to quit everything for family. So I stand to neutralize. My ex-boyfriend lied, guys. He lied through his teeth because I was that to him. And yet every man that came into my life has been treating me like I'm a feminist that had my splat coming, my thud landing with it coming, my loss of money coming, my loss of support coming. They have basically taken revenge out on the wrong woman. So when I get married, I stand then to get justice against the men who did that to me, who neglected and abandoned me. My husband stands to humiliate them by being the happiest man alive, basically. By being a very satisfied man, a very catered to man. By the very woman that was written off, left to die because apparently she was a handled feminist. That is the problem with this war between feminists and toxically masculine men. They all are so busy fighting each other that they can't even stop to realize that not all men are disgusting like that, and the men are also not waking up to realize that not all women are far gone and disgusting too, in the way that they just have no regard for the manhood of men at all. They're so busy fighting each other within their toxic masculinity and their toxic toxic feminism that they can't realize that, hello, in any ecosystem at all, there are always people that go against the grain. In the same way that in the days of racism and slavery, there were white people that hated the abuse of blacks. There's always people who go against the grain. And these people did not, for the life, like, seriously speaking, did not for the life, cannot, for, you strangely struggled to open your eyes to the fact that not all women think like that. Not all women have got this modern mindset. I had the old school mindset even before coming to Christ. When I came to Christ, I just found rest in the fact that it's biblical the way that I desire. So I knew that I wasn't alone, and I knew that that's what God wanted. But even before I came to the Lord, I wanted a very typical domesticated type of state, gender roles, like pedantic type lifestyle. To a point where it was obvious. To a point where some guy in my office called me weak because I was that different from all the other women in the office. To a point where he said that I could be blown away by the wind. I was a girly girl in the worst way. Fragile. And I still got hurt by ravenous misogynists that put me in the same basket as women that broke their hearts. But just like in the days of slavery, apartheid, there were some white people that were not happy with what was going on. Once the tables did turn, even though the majority during the days of systematic oppression, even though the majority of the world had accepted the then narrative that blacks are slaves and whites are their masters, once it was abolished, once racist regimes were brought low, the transformation of the mindsets of society made it now such that the majority of the human race is anti-racism now. Most white chicks and dudes that you meet in the world when you go out there are not going to racistly mistreat you. You're going to get the few that are like that. The same thing is true where it is that most black people will at any given moment in their life not be actively getting harassed racistly, but every so often you will experience racist attacks like I have, but the majority of my life I wasn't. The attacks that were racist were few in comparison to the neutral treatment of my person by white people. So when you prosper to abolish a wicked regime, you also over time change the minds of the majority, meaning that if we stand women, those of us who still believe in biblical womanhood, and we seek the Lord's hand and face to conquer this, even though we might be the beginning stages of the recovery, meaning we're probably not going to see the full end of a restored state. The initial freed slaves did not experience true 100% freedom. The people who experienced true 100% freedom were the generations that came afterwards. But the war and the fight was fought by them, meaning that we stand to fight for the future generation of women that are going to be restored to biblical womanhood, that are going to be restored to femininity in the way that is appreciated by God, and so therefore by God's sons. And if at all we strive in this way, we'll eventually go back to the good old days. We have to abolish the slave regime. Right now, these toxic feminists and these toxic masculine, misogynists are reigning the streets in their majority because it's like the days of apartheid. It's like the days of slavery. But there is an active, riotous, revolutionary body that is actively trying to uproot those structures. And if we win, we will start the journey to recovery for everybody else. Allow yourself as a woman to be among the first fruits or the first generation of recipients of a godly man that's not afflicted by misogyny, and be therefore a godly wife that is not afflicted by feminism. Be among the first fruits. Be among the first beneficiaries of the blessedness. I have had to wait until my late 30s, perhaps even my 40s, to finally get married off to a man that is not like this, because it's been a war, a struggle. But our daughters will marry nicely at 25, at 26, at 27. I'm probably going to marry in my 40s. It's likely. But it will have been because I had to wait, because the struggle was real, it was rife, it was heavy. The battlefield was brimming. At the time when I entered into the faith, it was still too flagrant, the war, the bombs that were landing. But I think we're at a place of a ceasefire now. The truce is about to be entered into. And so I'm getting married later than I would appreciate with a geriatric womb. I am highly unlikely going to have 7 kids born from my own womb, so I'm probably going to have to adopt. But at least I will have conquered a narrative. We need to wait on the Lord. So do not fret and front. I've been crying so hard on the internet when I'm watching men talking about how, because that's also the thing about these misogynists, they tease older women, the ones, those of us who have been waiting, and we're like in our late 30s now, maybe 40, early 40s. They are laughing at us on some who's gonna want you. Well, we're gonna go for the 25-year-olds. That is a man that has got an old satanic mindset. There are men that God has refined who will see value in godliness and not so much look at numbers. years. Plus, the Lord has a thing about maintaining your youthful exuberance even when you are 38. So do not look at people calling you a woman with a geriatric womb. Do not look at the fact that apparently the ship has sailed or something in your career. Now the younger kids are going to get their own. Do not look at any of that. Know and understand that struggle veterans, struggle heroes tend to inherit their promise in their latter years, but they work that the youth might inherit it earlier. Think about what happened in the days of apartheid. Like, all the struggle heroes only got their prominent positions in parliament and whatnot in their 40s, 50s, but their youth days were spent fighting. Their years were squandered basically by the struggle, but it was worth the while in their latter years. We need to embrace the fact that those of us who fight against this wicked thing will only inherit in our latter years. We're not going to be young brides. We are not going to be young moms, but we're going to get to be moms and brides nonetheless. We're going to eventually receive the fruit of sorrow of our earlier days. But your daughter is going to get married to a nice, beautiful, godly man who's going to be 27 when she's 23. We need to trust that the process is working. I am a warrior for this mission. I was born in 1984 on the 8th of August. I'm turning 38 in 4 days. Are you a warrior too? Were you born in 1988? Were you born in 1981? Were you born in 1979? Were you born in 1990 and you feel like your years are eroding away at you and nothing is coming together? Hold on to Jesus. Be among the first beneficiaries of the repealing of the wicked law, of the abolition of slavery in this regard, rather than being an embittered old woman whose years were wasted by men who just won't get their act together. Trust me, if there are women who feel this way about life, there are men who also feel exactly as you feel. There are men who are frustrated by the narrative just as much as you are. Those are our husbands. We have to wait. Do not capitulate. Don't let yourself fornicate. Don't let yourself end up married to an unbeliever. Don't let yourself believe that you have been infiltrated into your space, a bad man, that it's just going to keep on happening that way. The Lord knows what he's doing, and so you should trust it. Trust the process. If they compete you with younger women, do not allow yourself to get bitter, because these women need you. These women, you are the example. You are the mouthpiece. You are the amulet. You are the monolith that is standing, the structure that is standing erect, having been planted by God, that they can look at as something to fashion their lives after. You are a monument for these women. So do not resent the youth of young women. Women in the world who have been hurt by men that have no Christ, have no Holy Spirit, hate young women. But if you don't want to be that girl, but rather like a role model, a wise older lady that all the young girls love because she's like a mama bear, a mother hen, you will wait on the Lord. A happy wife is not going to be jealous of her daughters. A woman that is adored and cherished by her husband is not going to give grief to the young women in the church. She's going to be a pillar of advice. Be seasoned with salt, be fruitful, and cleanse yourself. Be renewed by the Holy Spirit, and do not allow social media to take you away. There is such a horrible war, especially in the black community, between black men and black women that are on two extremes of this like fight. And it's so taxing to listen to the men speak and look at their comments because they are so scathing to women like me. I'm 38 and apparently I'm a write-off to these men. Like the other day, I had literally tears and everything came out of my eyes when I was listening to one man speak about these older women that were independent. Look at them now, they've aged. And I'm like, dude, I was the sweet girl. Like every quality that these men want, that's the thing. These misogynistic men, they want the submissive woman. They want the one guy was even talking about how he's an American and he's sick and tired of American women, so he went to Brazil because they're a lot more submissive. They're a lot more domesticated. They're whatnot. And he was busy talking about how these women, especially the older ones, they even smell down below, as in their vaginal health is not on par, and yet they've got attitude. And on top of that, they're old, so like a whole bunch of men have been in there and have wreaked havoc. Like, and I'm just like, dude, do you know that I have been chaste for 11 years and I entered into Christianity when I was 26 and a half. So basically my womanhood down there was as young can get, and for 11 years no man has been in me, and you have basically just clumped me since I'm older with all these other women that have been fighting you too for being such such a misogynist. I'm the one that waited, and yet you are so busy fighting all of these feminists all over the show that you couldn't even realize that we're not all like that. I'm a 38-year-old woman that has got a peaceable and a quiet spirit that is precious in the sight of the Lord, that has stayed chaste for 11 years and is waiting on the Lord. And even before losing her career, she was still happy to abandon everything to be a submissive wife that is very domesticated, happy to sweep the floor. This guy was lamenting about the fact that you don't want to sweep the house because you think it's slavery. I literally went out of my way to study biblical womanhood. I try to fashion my life after that book, Fascinating Womanhood, just so I would be an acceptable and a pleasing wife to a man. I knew that I had to get my hands dirty, washing dishes, cleaning the house, taking care of kids, baking, cooking, cleaning. I wanted to do all that to a point where I literally got trained online. I got taught how to bake, taught how to cook, cleaned, scrubbed, like made sure that I don't go to bed with dishes in the sink, in training myself to be a woman that runs her own household where there is a man and some kids. You know, this question of what are you bringing to the table? That's what I bring. A woman that went to womanhood school for 11 years, and that whole time I wanted to serve a man with all my training. I got taken to university to learn about how to love a man, and I've graduated with flying colors with honors, magna cum laude. And because I'm 38, I've got that guy's 23. Others are in their 30s, talking about those of us who are getting older and not married. And they're dissing us, saying that you're here alone because your feminism didn't do anything for you. Your independence didn't do anything for you. And I'm sitting there saying, even my independence, I lost. Even when I had nothing, struggling, and so a man was in a position to provide for my every need, they still kicked me. He still kicked me, and today the same man is trying to kill me. I am outside of this argument, this conversation, and yet I feel afflicted by the bullets that are coming from the conversation. I don't agree with the women. I don't agree with the men. I am somewhere absent of the situation but still in it, because I am now being laughed at by men who are like, that's what happens to you women when you don't respect us, except I did respect you to a point where I was so fluffy that you said I could be blown away by the wind, the way I'm so soft in comparison to all the other women. If at all you can relate to this women, you need to give your lives to the Lord so that you can survive being attacked, abused, vitriolically, spoken negatively at by wicked men who are in this ugly war. The other day I did a video speaking about biblical submission, and some fighter in this war of a man made such a horrible comment in my comments section, basically telling me to shut up, a woman must be silent, without even listening to the full video. And I was like, look at who it is that he's hitting a bullet at. He is so busy fighting all these feminists that he came to a woman that is actually happy to submit, and he gunned her down. Collateral damage. We need to wait for God. Stand with Christ and let him end the war between them all. And the benefit on the other side of waiting on the Lord is that these misogynistic men and these misogynistic women will literally have only each other. They will have allowed themselves to get taken by the wind and wave of hatred. One guy even called me hateful for basically speaking against unequal yoking, saying that don't marry a man that is not submissive to God, because then submitting to him is going to be hard. That was my short. And this man called me hateful in my comments section. No context, no understanding, just dropping bombs in a space that is purer than yours. I'm not in your cesspool in your war, and you are commenting horribly in my clean environment. God is going to extract you. These men that have allowed themselves to spit bullets at women and not love them, and these women that have allowed themselves to refuse to submit to men and hate them and tell themselves they can do without them, they're the ones that are going to grow old alone. They're the ones that are going to be bitter. They're the ones that are going to covet godly marriages. They're the ones that are going to end up contracting all different kinds of viruses and diseases because of the fact that they're so dissatisfied with relationships. They keep on moving from one to the other to the other to the other. They will keep spreading diseases among themselves. They will keep on fighting with one another. But as for us, we will serve the Lord. We will wait on the Lord. Allow yourself to be like one who is marked by the blood, guys, of the Passover lamb. Let the angel of death fly over your house and take them away and not you. Last night I asked God to give me any kind of direction, and he sent me to Ezekiel 9. In Ezekiel 9, the title of it is Death to, not Ezekiel, is it Jeremiah or Ezekiel? It's Jeremiah. Death to idolaters. And when I read there, God, again, a similar story to the one with the Passover lamb, where the Lord sent out a messenger of death in the town to massacre everybody that was an idolater, except for those that were marked, sealed by the blood of the lamb, by God. So allow yourself to be sealed. Turn to Christ. Have your doorpost have the Passover blood drawn on it, so that this thing that's going to take them all over is going to fly right over you. The Lord is currently giving them diseases. Look at monkeypox spreading right now, and they refuse to call it an STD. The Lord is busy giving them HIV. The Lord is busy spreading gonorrhea, chlamydia, syphilis between them, among them. They're fighting each other. They think they're right as women. They think they're right as men. One woman was complaining that her misogynistic baby daddy gave her herpes, and he told her that he did it on purpose. And I'm like, honey, that would not have happened if you were godly. They will catch these things that are going to tip them like dominoes, and they're going to get to older ages all upset and angry. They might even come into your comment section on YouTube and speak smack against you. But you are to consecrate yourself to the Lord, wait on him, allow him to put his seal on you, and the angel of death that's going to take all of them away, the Grim Reaper, will spare you. Allow the Lord to rescue you from the tension between these feminists and these toxically masculine men. They are in a fight themselves, in a cesspool. They are making war with one another. They are giving each other's diseases, and they are also hurting collateral damage style those that are not involved in this fight. God will take them out himself. God. I had a misogynist of that nature come into my life despite me being a godly woman. And what happened? Because of my submissiveness and my godliness, he just decided that he's going to go and run rampant with a sword and just cut whatever he can down in my environment. I should have known better, but that was my lesson, and I've learned it. However, I'm still safe. Wait on the Lord. Even if they try to compare you to younger women, even if they try to say that you are over with, it's finished, even if they say your ship has sailed, saying that your business is not going to start, guys, the Lord is the Lord of small things and of big things. He is the Lord of yesterday, today, and forever. He knows the beginning all the way to the end. He is the author of time. And so for those reasons, however much of it you feel like you have lost, God is going to restore to you 100-fold over that which you have lost, and in the next life give you eternal life. That which the locust, the palmer worm, the canker worm, you get my point. According to the book of Joel, I believe too, whatever has been stolen from you, the Lord is going to restore it to you manifold over. You're going to be a happy wife even if you marry at 41. You're going to be your husband is going to be a doting husband over you. Your kids are going to call you blessed, just like the Proverbs 31 woman. You're going to love them. Your pregnancy is going to be the most precious thing to endure. You are going to be a happy new mom. You're not going to suffer with postpartum depression. You are going to be so blessed in everything that you are doing because you waited on the Lord, that those very people who are mocking you, teasing you, wreaking havoc, watching you fall with a thud to your demise, treating you like a scavenger on the side of the street, being eaten by vultures, those very same people are going to be in those horrific marriages that are ending day before yesterday, or single at the age of 40 and going nowhere with their single state, having allowed themselves to be frequented in and out of their bodily parts by strange men. They will be the ones to contract the monkeypox, not you. Wait on the Lord, and he will do a precious thing for you. The violence around the church and the sons and daughters of the Most High, basically the church, has been exquisite, but it's only because we are towards receiving our promise. We are about to get into our promise, so the war is ever more magnified. Now I've gotten things off my chest. I feel relieved, and now that it's off my chest, I can go on and do what I need to do for the rest of the day. I hope you've been edified. I trust the electricity is back because I've been speaking for like ever and a day. It should be by now. But yeah, guys, you know what? Be strong. Like that's literally all I can say. Be strong. It will pay off in the end. The reward is great in the end. No eye has seen, no ear has heard the things which God has prepared for those who wait for him. Don't fret and front when friends and family members watch you fall to your demise. If they do that, that's their judgment. It's not so much your end as it is theirs. Signing out in Christ's name. Crank. Bye.